You can start.
Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I will now call to order the regular school board meeting of Independent School District number 544. And with that, I'll turn to the clerk to establish our quorum.
Okay. Kirby Anderson.
Present.
Kelly Graff.
Here.
Jenny Christensen.
Present.
Missy Hermes, present. Melanie Cole.
Here.
Stephen Vigasa.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the agenda? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, the agenda is approved. Not working, Jim?
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you. I didn't hear myself reverberating, so I thought maybe it wasn't working. All right, we'll move on with resolution on acknowledgements and offer a thank you to FM Bank and the Fergus Falls 544 Education Foundation for their donations to the Future Otters Onesie Project at Fergus Falls Public Schools. Thank you to Fergus Falls 544 Education Foundation for their donation to the Roosevelt Gym at Fergus Falls Public Schools. Thank you to West Central Initiative for their donation from the Inga M. Johnson Endowment Fund for the Fergus Falls Bike Rodeo with Partnership for Health at Fergus Falls Public Schools. Thank you to West Central Initiative for their donation to the Inga M. Johnson Endowment Fund for student experiences at the Area Learning Center. Thank you to West Central Initiative for their donation from the Inga M. Johnson Endowment Fund for the homework help through community ed at Fergus Falls Public Schools. Will someone offer this resolution and move for its adoption?
I'll offer that resolution and move for its adoption.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the resolution? Clerk, please take roll.
Kelly Graff.
Yes.
Jenny Christensen.
Yes.
Missy Hermes, yes. Melanie Cole.
Yes.
Stephen Vigasa.
Yes.
Kirby Anderson.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted.
Thank you. We'll move on to our reports, and tonight we will begin with our middle school principal, Ivan Hurst. Just scrambling up the eggs here a little bit.
Well, make sure you guys are paying attention, right? Good evening.
Good evening.
Today, biggest thing, we started quarter 3. So this is a really exciting day because we get brand new schedules and everyone's kind of scurrying about the building, trying to find new rooms that they might not have had. We've said this kind of every semester now in my 5th year here, but we work hard to we're a relationship business. So we want our kids to have the same teachers in their core classes as often as possible. The quarter classes, the electives we have are only 1 quarter at a time. So those are easily shuffleable. What happened prior to being here was they switched their core teachers every quarter too. So you had to reestablish relationships, and you could have a scenario where you have a math teacher for 3 quarters and then a different one for 1 quarter. But that 1 quarter might be quarter 2. And so you're bouncing back and forth. So we've really worked hard prioritizing. Alana Johnson's a master at navigating schedules. So if they switch, they only switch between quarter 2 and quarter 3. So I just wanted, we spend a lot of time, there's a lot of work that goes into clicking pretty much every kid's schedule at least once. I want you to know that is really important to us, and we go through that work. Students in 7th, 8th grade, they spent some advisory time last week when the schedules were sent to them live, and they wrote down by hand their very own schedule. In the past, we just keep giving them paper, and this is yours. You should write it down, because we all would, right? As adults, we'd write down what is coming next and enter it in our calendar, so we have our kids do that as well. So quarter 3, big day, because it's the halfway point, and a lot of energy in the building. I want to do a recognition here for our grade level teams. We talked about bar a little bit, and we're going to do that some more today. But we've been seeking changes in our 7th and 8th grade programs, primarily surrounding the, really probably surrounding the number of failures that we're having in 8th grade. It seems like the kids just don't have enough buy-in. So I want to shout out to the 7th and 8th grade core teachers because they changed it up a little bit. And at the end of every quarter, we have a celebration. And the celebration is intended for kids that are passing all their classes and have enough work in to participate in the activities, end of quarter celebrations. The kids that haven't met that threshold are communicated with, and they go to workrooms, which, I mean, it makes sense to me. What we did this year, or this quarter, the grade level teams, their idea, they said, we're doing the cutoff on Tuesday night. So if you spend Wednesday and or Thursday getting all your stuff in last second, which teachers all hate, but they do because they love kids, but you were assigned to a workroom on Wednesday morning because that's where your grade put you at that time. So good, bad, but that's what we tried this time, and we're hopeful that we see some results from that because the next end of quarter party is going to go to the Center for the Arts. We told you about this. So I want to shout out to them just because they're thinking outside the box, and we've given them tremendous ownership of their grade level teams, and this is what they came up with. So really happy about that. Our Saturday school, that shifts right into Saturday school, which starts on February 7th. We have 8 dates for the remainder of the year in every Saturday in February, a couple in April, and a couple in May. So any kids that are failing, have failed a core class, will be communicated with by their teachers, will communicate with their parents, and work to get the remaining work that they need to be passing for the quarter. We don't give them a packet and say, do all this stuff, now you're passing. We find the work that they missed during the quarter and say, you should have done this the first time, which I think is logical and a good lesson as well. I just want to shout out and thank you to Heidi Bohannon. She's been working in the office in place of Miss Molly when she's on her leave. She's really been great. Really, she's taken on any project I ask her to. I just feel really blessed that, you know, we think Molly's great. Heidi's great too. And so it's really been really nice. Speaking of Molly, she brought her baby in not too long ago, so that was really fun to see right before the holidays. So I just want to say thank you to Heidi Bohannon. It's been wonderful. Moving into the section on district goals, I'm asked by our schedule to talk about grade level literacy and what we're doing to achieve that goal. Our curriculum director titled this CAPD Week, and I briefly mentioned CAPD at our last meeting, which would have been November, but CAPD is a dyslexia screener. So that's the new state law, so we have to test for dyslexia in grades 4 through 12. And the schedule in the middle school, I'm not sure about other grades, that's happening tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. So we'll gather that data. We didn't cast the net to all of the students because it's the first year, and frankly, we're ahead of the game. But we did a small section of students, primarily those that were receiving interventions already. So we're getting tests. So Addie Scholl and Carrie Love and Angie Leach they got one more thing to do, administer this test. So we're really thankful for their work. All the testing is taking place during their instructional time, so there's no disruption to the learning day in any way. We also completed our winter screenings for RTI. This would be a grade 6. Every student took the STAR test in reading. We gathered those results, compared those from winter to fall. Have we seen growth? Have we not? We also did another screening for reading, oral reading fluency. So, you know, do we have kids that could graduate, and we're already monitoring those, but are there other kids that are slipping through the cracks that would benefit from time in RTI, in both reading and math, frankly. So those winter screenings are also happening. The next topic is our student average daily attendance, and you know from our BAR program that we've been tracking that. Our data in the past has been by quarter. That's really how we classified it, was by quarter. BAR says, we'd really like you to do that every month. Well, today being the new quarter, Miss Lynn, who's on top of it, she's on top of it, sent me the list for quarter 2 data, and we didn't meet our goals. which was for sixth grade. And I don't have a presentation tonight, but our sixth grade goal was 56.8. Our target, our average the last 2 years was 50.8, so we bumped it up 6%, and we came in at 50.2%. So we didn't even really hit the average of the last 2 years, but we're in, I mean, that's reasonably within the range. So, so that we'll bring that back to the leadership team. What are we doing? What's going on? Miss Heidi happens to be a hockey gal, and I love hockey. I love all the sports. I love all the activities. But typically hockey would have tournaments on Fridays. So, and she knows all the hockey kids. I sincerely don't. So she went through and said, are these hockey kids or not? And there's something to it. I don't know if it's enough to matter. But there are kids that are, it's unfair, it's fair, but because we want kids in activities, they need to be in activities. There's a lot of Fridays that they are sneaking out, and that's the setup of society. Good luck with changing that. So that was an interesting topic that we investigated, because that was actually her idea. Our seventh graders also were within a percentage point of the last 2 years average. They did not meet the goal that we had set at the beginning of the year either, and these were pretty significant drops from quarter one. In quarter one, I'm going to go back to sixth grade, we had 70.6 attendance at 95%, and in quarter two, 50.2. So we dropped to over 20% in the number of kids that attended 95% of the time.
Are people sick? Are there a lot of
So-
kids out for illness, or? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's, and you can see the bell, it's an inverse bell, but this many kids, then it goes down in the winter, and then it goes back up in the spring when we do that. So we'll get a little more data now by quarter, which we could mine if we wanted to, but it's just illness. We're gonna keep trying. Eighth grade also, they were 3% under the average of the last 2 years, so they did not hit their target either. We've been bringing this up in our monthly newsletters to families: attendance, sickness, don't send them if they have a temperature. If you have an achy tummy, you should go to school. If you have a headache, you should go to school. You shouldn't go to school if you have a temperature. And so we've said that at class meetings, we said that in our parent newsletters. We're advertising, and if you recall, quarter one had a significant, there was a noticeable change in the attendance. Shiny things kind of tend to wear off at some point. So we're going to keep collecting data and keep working on it. This is a good spot to hit discipline data. Sorry, it's not in the school goals, but then the bar goals. Hopefully this is just fine. We noticed a pretty significant increase in discipline referrals in the sixth grade. The sixth grade's been a little challenging for us. We have a lot of kids in sixth grade. It's our biggest class in the district, to my knowledge. And they are in 8 sections, but that's about 27 per classroom. And we've done that before, and we have a lot of veteran teachers in sixth grade. But I would say the need is a little higher than I recall in the past. So we're having some more discipline referrals there. We were expecting, the last couple of years told us that we would have 7 referrals, and we have 38 instead. So we're working with that group a lot. The 7th grade had a nominal increase, less than the past, more than first quarter. But they went from 17 to 22 referrals. So negligible in my thinking. 8th grade typically has the highest number of referrals for discipline, and they actually went down from quarter one. So we're going to take that as a win. If we lose, it's nominal. If we win, we say it's a win. Okay. But they had 5 less than first quarter, so that feels good that we're making some progress. I want to say we've been hard on them, but we're expecting them to mature, and maybe I'll tell you after quarter 3. So I'm going to move on to section 3, which is for us school highlights and accomplishments. Probably the biggest one was our spelling bee. I don't know, it's just a really special event. You get to see kids compete. I love competing, whether it's Knowledge Bowl or contests for music or the basketball game that my daughter's playing at in however many minutes that is. So I just love to see kids have a chance to shine, and we had kids up there spelling their brains out, right? And it was really exciting. But we had, and you probably saw this on Facebook, but Eli Schlosser, he won as a sixth grader. He won again. He's back to back. The shirts are coming. They're not coming. But we're getting shirts printed, and pretty cool. I mean, he is cool as a cucumber up there. And this particular year, I don't remember last year, he was typing out the word. Pretty cool to see. And then Christiana Haugen, also a seventh grader, she won. So she's going to Lakes Country for the regional meet, and I think that on the 17th. So it's a really special event. Bailey McKinney's been doing that the last year, and really does a great job. She's so organized. She's really a go-getter. Upcoming events, we have our holiday. We always have our holiday concerts, and then we have our end of February, March concerts, and then we have our end of the year. So band, mass band, 6 through 12, February 9th. February 26th is the middle school choir, 6th grade during the day, 7th and 8th grade in the evening, and then March 3rd is the middle school orchestra concert. So those are things that are coming up. That concludes my report. I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thanks for the report. Are there any questions? All right,
Very
well,
good.
go cheer on your daughter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Next up, we'll have John Steinbrenner, our Lincoln Elementary principal, give his report. Good evening, John.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me here tonight. So I just want to share a little bit about Lincoln School. I think it's worth refreshing just where we are at this point in the year with Otter Preschool, only from the standpoint of, preschool might be in a position where there might be a little bit more turnover with students, but we're just really not seeing that. We're still at 83% capacity within Otter Preschool. Our 4- and 5-year-old full-time classes are 95% full, and that really represents like 3 seats that are open right now. Our halftime is at 67% capacity, and our quarter time for our 3- and 4-year-olds is at 82% capacity. So it's a pretty big place. We serve 128 preschoolers each and every week. Something that's really, I don't know, I just kind of arrived at this. For our kindergartners next year, we already know who 84 of those students are. They attend Otter Preschool, and gosh, what a benefit to us to have those students there each and every day. We're getting to learn more about them and what their needs might be, and more specifically what their strengths already are. So we're just really already looking forward to next year and continue to see the benefits of preschool and kindergarten, and now first grade being at one site. Staying on the early childhood side of things with ECFE, we just started our we'll call it a spring session, because that will hopefully manifest some warmer weather. We just started our spring session. We continue to see that strong participation from the public, both with some familiar classes. Our Friday music classes are always really popular, but then also some engaging community-based offerings as well that people are just really appreciating and have shown interest in those. The one other class that I wanted to mention, or the other one, let's call it service that we offer, is the United Way Child Care Visitor Program. And so this year, one of our ECFE teachers is working with 10 home-based child care centers within the community. And what's been really nice about that is it's an opportunity for the school district to go out into the community and work with our youngest learners. And then we've seen kind of a return on that, where then that adult has familiarized herself with those children and then left some pamphlets and flyers laying around, and then we're seeing those people come back for ECFE classes, which will hopefully materialize into some Otter Preschool enrollments too. So it's been a really healthy and nice offering. Really kind of proud of that. She's doing a fantastic job. Let's talk a little bit about kindergarten and attendance. I'll say it this way: kindergarten, first grade attendance. The midpoint report, because that's where we are within the school year, 57% of our students are at that 95% attendance goal. So we're sitting right at 57%. The next category, that 90% attendance, that's where really everyone lives. We're at 85%. 85% of our kids are there and have missed 4 to 9 days out of the school year, which is really maybe that 9 seems like a lot. The thing that I'm trying to remember though is, gosh, these guys are exposed to a whole lot and their immune systems are just so new and fresh and young. And so they are missing a little bit more school than maybe what we would hope. And yet, 4 to 9 days, and that's 85% of our students. So just the families and the students are doing a really nice job of knowing when the right time to be at school is and are engaged as we would hope. I want to talk a tiny bit about grade level literacy. And I'm really going to focus in on kindergarten. Some of our first grade data was still being compiled, and I can share a little bit more about that next meeting. And I will want to collaborate with Mr. Colbeck on that so that it's a grade level report and not just a Lincoln first grade report. But for our kindergartners, here's something that's really interesting is at the start of the year when we did our baseline assessments, 28% of our kindergarten students were at or above grade level. So everyone that's coming in, we took a poll, we did some assessments, 28% of children were at or above. And when we did that same set of assessments here now, with growth taking into consideration, students are going to be performing where they would be as kindergartners during the middle of the year, so it's not the same exact assessment. 52% of our kindergartners, so we've made that jump from 28% to 52% of our kindergartners are at or above grade level, and that represents 26 students, which is a huge deal if you think about a middle school classroom. That's shifting an entire middle school classroom from the from kind of that does not meet standard into that at or above grade level. And that's a reflection both of the differentiated instruction that's being provided at that tier 1 level within the classroom by that grade level teacher, but then also Ms. Walvatney and Courtney Anderson are doing some really nice work within our tier 2 model, delivering both title and RTI services. I mentioned that those 26 students that have made the shift, 11 of those students, 11 of those 26 do work with Ms. Walvatney, and they work with her every single day for about 20 minutes. And so that's partially responsible for their boost. In the fall, 40 students who were well below grade level were identified overall for those tier 2 intervention services. And then at winter benchmark, 22 of those students, so just more than half of those students were moved from the does not meet to the meets or exceeds. So really just some fine work being done there at Lincoln School at that kindergarten level, both by the classroom teachers as well as by the interventionists. Some upcoming events at kindergarten. I know how this is possible because time flies, but kindergarten meet and greet is set for Friday, March 6th. So that's already right around the corner. We're going to do one session at 9 a.m. and one session at 10:30. Last year we did it in the afternoon, but this year we're doing it in the morning. We'll be sending out information to families with age-eligible children, and they'll get that in the mail. So we're just taking a look at our census rolls and just mailing that directly to families so they have that content or that information available to them, and then we'll also do some posting on social media. And the big first step is for families to get pre-registered for kindergarten, and that just lets us start with our planning process. Preschool registration, on the other hand, is coming up very, very soon. We have preschool conferences next week, the first week of February. At those conferences, families will start talking with their teachers about the most appropriate next step and whether they are 3-4-year-olds going to be programming with us for 4-5, or if they're transitioning to kindergarten. So that's when those discussions will be happening. And then we'll open up that preschool registration the following week. An update on our Lincoln mural. So last week we posted on our social media and our website for requests for qualifications from artists across the state or whoever has access to that request. And we'll be accepting those applications through the middle of February, with that work beginning as soon as the weather is right, and then to be completed by fall of next year. And during our in-service open house next fall, then we'll have a ribbon cutting and opening of that mural for the public to see. And again, special thanks to the Inga M. Johnson Endowment Grant through West Central Initiative, and also the Lake Region Arts Council for making that funding available. Lastly, February is I Love to Read Month. We have a number of guest readers scheduled to read to individual classrooms or our entire school. It's just a nice opportunity for community members to come in and share their love of reading, and then also for folks to come in and see school in action. That's really, really nice too. And that is what I have for my report for you this evening.
I got a question for you.
Yes,
So the 128 preschoolers we had, you said you have 84 that we know are attending kindergarten.
Yeah.
Is there any way to get data of why those 44 families or students aren't going to attend kindergarten? And if you've got it, great, but I'm just wondering, because we always, when a student leaves our district, we don't usually get a very good exit interview, so to
Yeah.
speak. And I guess that would be interesting to know why they're not coming
Sure.
to kindergarten.
So I'll answer that. Maybe not entirely the question
Yeah.
that you asked, but I just want to clarify, maybe it's more of a clarification. Of the 128, 84 are only age eligible. The others are
Oh,
3,
I see.
4-year-olds.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably
That's all right.
messed that up in my delivery.
No,
but
it's okay.
yes.
Do you know, I mean, the folks that attend, do you know what the rate of, I hate to say the word capture, but I don't have another word. How many of those kids that attend preschool here go to kindergarten here as well?
That is for sure an answer that I could get for you. I just don't know the answer to that, and I would be able to look at last year's data to report
Yeah,
on that.
I'm just curious how,
I would say the vast majority, though.
I would think so. I just curious. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Okay, thanks, everybody.
All right, thank you. All right, and we'll have that Holzbeck report. And he'll report on the elementary buildings at McKinley Manor.
Yeah, thank you. I want to start with something really, really fun and uplifting. And I'm going to pass around 4 photos. It took 4 photos to capture this mural, a new mural at McKinley School that covers 2 of the 4 walls in our cafeteria. And then I'll tell you a little bit more about this mural as you're passing it around. And I'll start with, this page would be the furthest left on the longest wall, and then it just kind of keeps going down and then spans onto a second wall. So we have an employee at McKinley School. Her name is Anna Fremont. She's our student support aide, and she works from 7:45 to 12:45 every day. But she has some mad creative skills, and this is her 4th mural that she has painted for us at McKinley School. But this mural is larger than the other 3 combined. This is volunteering at its finest. 275 hours of volunteer time to create this mural. And what's really neat is the students, they all know Miss Fremont, and they were all able to watch as this thing progressed over a long time. 275 hours is the equivalent of 34 8-hour work days. Rumor has it that over Christmas break she pulled an all-nighter. She started at 1 p.m. in the afternoon, and according to the custodian, was still there the next morning when they arrived to work. So you get going with something that you really love, and it's hard to leave it. So she started by just painting the 2 walls, the light blue background, and then, another day you'd start seeing some pencil and some things being sketched out. And then, and it's just wonderful. So if you're ever at McKinley, you can get downstairs and go into our small little cafeteria and check that out. It's just beautiful and it's amazing, and we thank her very much. And we did take a photo of it and make sure we put that in our most recent district e-newsletter to recognize her for that. So we reimburse her for her materials and supplies and cost, but the rest of it is just her donation. Anna Fremont. Yeah, Fremont. And if you were to ever drive by her residence, the entire garage door is painted, the mailbox is painted, driveway is painted, yes. Okay, so hopefully you're enjoying that. There's been a lot of talk about attendance, and we'll continue to have that discussion here, and I'll report on the two buildings of McKinley and Adams. And again, thank you to Lynn Johnson, our truancy interventionist, for collecting this data for us. This is through January 21st, which happened to be the exact halfway point of the school year, which was our 85th day of school. And very similar to other numbers that you've heard tonight, you know, just a reminder, the goal is 95% attendance or better. And if we look at the percentage of kids at McKinley who are meeting that, currently it's 58%. And if you look at the kids at Adams School, it's 59%. So very similar. I think I heard Mr. Steinbrenner say 57% maybe in his building. We have 20 kids that currently still have perfect attendance. When I looked at where we were at the end of the first quarter compared to where we are at now, this isn't comparing quarter to quarter. This is comparing first quarter to the first semester. At McKinley, 58% of our kids at the end of the first quarter were meeting our 95% attendance or better goal, and that is still 58%. So it hasn't changed. At Adams, on the other hand, at the end of the first quarter, the attendance, we had 65% of the kids at Adams School having that 95% or better attendance. At now, through the semester, it went from 65% to 59%. So just a little bit about that. We do have a total of 56 kids between the two buildings who are at that 89.99% or lower. And then even when you look within that, there's big differences, right? There's kids at that 89.5 percentile all the way down to 75%. And that's where you start to get really, really concerned, coming to school 3 out of 4 days, etc. So I was just thinking about this today. I almost hate to say it. I've been a school administrator for 27 years, not all in this district, but I can't think of a year that we haven't talked about attendance. But, and this is a good thing, most recently we find ourselves talking about attendance more often, and that's because it's one of our district goals. So let's put it out there and let's be talking about it. So that's a good thing. Talking about grade level literacy, 2 weeks ago, all of our students at McKinley and Adams were screened. We do what's called universal screenings, fall, winter, spring. We finished our winter screenings 2 weeks ago. Last week, our reading interventionists who do all of the screenings, they held 20 meetings, each meeting 30 minutes in length, with our 20 classroom teachers individually to review student progress and then make adjustments or tweaks to some of the small groups and the kids that they're serving. We have some very, very skilled interventionists who love what they do, and teaching kids to read is just, it's their passion. We have the right people working with our kids who need reading intervention. Just to give you a little bit of an idea, and each grade level is different, but if we look at the grade 2 assessments that are used during the winter, there's 4 assessments. One is called nonsense word fluency. There's word reading fluency. There's oral reading fluency. And then there's something called the maze. And then when you do those 4, you get a composite score. Just to give you an idea of how the benchmarks change from fall to winter to spring, if we look at just one of those assessments, and we'll look at the oral reading fluency, it's a 1-minute timed test where the students read a passage. The fall benchmark is 49. It jumps to 78 words per minute in the winter, and then all the way to 94 words per minute in the spring. So you might have kids that continue to show growth through the course of the school year, but maybe still don't quite get to that benchmark where we would like them to be. It doesn't mean that they're not growing. When we looked at the kids between our buildings who moved from the red or yellow categories to the green or blue categories, just to give you a reminder, A score of a certain benchmark would be marked red. That means well below benchmark. Yellow would mean below benchmark. Green would be at benchmark, and blue would be above benchmark. We had 27 kids who moved from that red-yellow category into the green-blue category. That's obviously encouraging, and that's what we like to see. And then that's how, when the interventionists have those meetings with the classroom teachers, that's when they tweak or reorganize some of their small groups. Some of the kids then we'll say exit or graduate out of small group. Other kids might be placed in there, or you might have kids move from one small group to the next, depending on their skill level and ability. One of the things that we're having discussions about and that we're going to do is we are going to make an application to our staff development committee to get some training for next year's third grade teachers, to give them the same training that our current kindergarten, first and second grade teachers have had on this phonics curriculum that we refer to as UFly. We think that there's certain lessons that could be delivered to all third graders, especially at the start of the school year. And then having this training for our third grade teachers would also help them in their classroom when they do small group work themselves. And so our curriculum director, Amelia Lamar, our Title I director, Courtney Anderson, and myself, the three of us are going to make a proposal to the staff development committee that we get 5 hours of paid training for each of our, next year it would be 7 third grade teachers. And that would be something that they would do over the summer on their own time. It would be the same training that our kindergarten, first and second grade teachers have already had. So that's just a little piece on our district goal of grade level literacy. Just a few other things real quick. Recently, a decision was made on what the book title will be for our One School, One Book effort this year. It's going to be The Secret Explorers and the Comet Collision. Mr. Knick kind of always leads this effort. The book has been selected, it's been ordered, and then thankfully our parent-teacher organization covers the cost of those books. More on this later because our kickoff will be in March. Winter map testing started today. Thank you to our tech department who shows up at our elementary schools just to give tech support to make sure that that runs smoothly. A little while ago, I talked about our district e-newsletter. We had some fun at both schools recently where we invited kids who could present to us a JAWS card that would prove that they've run the distance of a marathon this year. And we had 37 proud kids with big smiles on their faces at Adams School who met us in the music room, got on the risers, and we took a photo of those 37 kids. We had 40 at McKinley who met us in the library, and we staged them for a fun photo. So if you look at the most recent district e-newsletter, you'll see 2 photos, 2 different schools, 77 kids total, and they're all holding up their card. So a lot of big smiles and kids feeling pretty proud. We have a kickoff coming up next week on February 5th. It's called our Kids Heart Challenge, and thank you to Jamie Lill for leading that effort. This week, all of our first graders, well, let me present it this way. This week, school board member Missy Hermes gets to spend time with every single first grader in our school district because they're all going to the museum. And it's my understanding that the hour that they spend there, half of that is spent with Ms. Hermes, and the other half is spent kind of touring the exhibits. So thank you for that. And I know our first graders enjoy that. And again, that's our parent-teacher organization who sponsors that. They pay for the transportation. They also pay for the entry into the museum. A couple more things. Theater Works USA. We're looking forward in about, well, not too far away, February 17th. All of our students will be bused over to the auditorium here at Kennedy for Theater Works USA is presenting the Magic School Bus. Our McKinley and Adams kids will all come together for the 9:30 performance. Today at Adams School, the kids were really excited to go to FIAD class. The obstacle course is set up in the Adams School Gymnasium. That will be there for a week. I'd like to thank all of our elementary PE staff as they work together. And for example, Friday when we didn't have school, in the afternoon when they didn't have staff development sessions, they all came together and set up the obstacle course at Adams School. That thing travels the district and will get set up probably at all 4 elementary schools this year, but it starts at Adams. Lastly, just wanted to throw this out because it was just kind of a neat thing. I stopped into a 3rd grade classroom today, and just as I stopped in, the teacher was about ready to say go to the kids, go. They were taking a 5-minute timed test on addition facts. Now these are 3rd graders, and they did this in the fall, and the teacher was whispering to me that about 4 of his 3rd graders finished the entire test in the 5 minutes. And he said, today you watch, about half of them will finish. And he said by the end of the year, most all of them will finish. And then all of this data is compiled by our RTI math interventionist, and it's just the way that we measure growth in math. We talk a lot about reading, but we've taken some steps forward in measuring this. He said by the end of the year, we will then be starting on multiplication timed tests in 3rd grade. So it's just kind of fun to see that happening, and actually kind of brought back memories for me of my school days doing similar stuff. So that's my report for this evening, and I'll entertain any questions you might have.
Excuse me, any questions for Nicole?
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I'll call forth Cindy Rhonda, elementary principal at Cleveland, for her report. Thanks.
It's yours now.
Yeah. We'll just switch paper. All right, good evening. Good evening. It's always fun to just kind of sit and listen to what's happening in each of the school buildings and just get a glimpse of our district as a whole. So I'm going to try and do the same for Cleveland. The Cleveland School also held spelling bees last week, and it's really an exciting time, and the kids get really excited, and it's fun to see them cheer on their classmates and kind of, hold their breath and, those big sighs of relief once they get it right, and cheer each other on. So we had 14 4th grade participants in the 4th grade spelling bee, and that competition went 10 intense rounds before our champion was determined. But Amir Bashir was the 4th grade spelling bee champion, and our runner-up was Beckett Foss. And that was a tight competition. And in the 5th grade competition, there were 18 participants, and that went really long. There were 21 rounds with the spelling competition there, and 5th grade champion was Nolan Swenson. He was the champion last year in 4th grade, and he held on to that title, and runner-up was Aiden Gersman. So they were very good sports, lots of good sportsmanship, and it's a special event. So congratulations to all of the students who participated. It takes a lot of confidence and courage to get up and spell in front of with that much pressure and without being able to see or write the words. They did a great job. Thank you to Krista Simongard. She coordinates this event and gets those words out early enough so they have time to practice and are not the spelling words, but the needed information. So we really appreciate the efforts that she puts into coordinating that. Another big event that Krista Simongard is involved in is the Staff Development Committee. She's chairing that committee, and last Friday, our district had an outstanding staff development day with the sessions that were planned. Excellent presenters. I've heard lots of good things. There were a couple that weren't able to make it on account of the weather that were canceled, but there's great hope that they can come back a different time. But those sessions, as you well know, are planned so that teachers can get the continuing education requirements needed for teacher licensure. So big thank you to our entire staff development committee for planning that day.
As the other principals have mentioned, now that at mid-year time, we do our universal screenings and collect all those data points. And so I just also want to thank, at Cleveland, it's Chad Kep who does our math data, Pam Anderson and Addie Scholl who oversee the reading screeners and data. They meet with every single student in the building and collect those data points, add them to the spreadsheet, which just allows us to spend a morning looking through all of the math data. And we go student by student and look for trends, trending data. If there's an adjustment that needs to be made, it's intense time and very well spent. So I'd like to report in the area of math, our fourth graders, we had 22 students who began the school year receiving RTI math intervention. 5 students have exited since the beginning of the year. And now, winter, we identified 22 students who are either going to continue to receive that math intervention or have been added to get a boost in those math skills. And in the 5th grade, 14 students were identified for math intervention at the start of the year. 2 students have exited, and we will continue on with 13 students receiving intervention in math. And then in the area of reading, there were 20 4th grade students who started with reading intervention at the beginning of the year. 5 students have exited, met benchmarks, and we are continuing on with 15 students. So 20 at the beginning, 15 ongoing here. In 5th grade, there were 18 students who began with reading intervention in the fall. 4 have exited, and we are continuing forward with 15. So it fluctuates during the course of the year, and that's to be celebrated. As soon as that student has had the needed scores, they exit at that time. We're not waiting for semester break or whatever. So it's frequent progress monitoring which is used, and communication between the interventionist, the teacher, and the parents. So we celebrate all those steps in the right direction. Mr. Colbeck did a great job of explaining how those screeners are used. And also at Cleveland, this is the week, the CAPTI week. So Cleveland is also administering the CAPTI screener for students who were identified in the area of reading to be at a 2A or 2B. So some are on the watch list, some are receiving reading intervention, and that CAPTI screener will give us just another really important data point to consider in what is needed for that child to make adequate progress. Now, I'd also like to report out on our first semester attendance. We have 19 students at Cleveland at this point in time who have perfect attendance. So that's to be celebrated. We have 211 students, or 65%, who are meeting that 95% district goal at this time. So that's super duper too. And then I always like to look at that 90% cutoff, and we have 91% of the students who are attending 90% or greater of the school days. So that's really good too. And then we have 28 students who, for various reasons, are not attending school 90% of the time. And so we are either in close communication with those parents or working with some medical aspects, or it is really truly a variety of reasons, but we're in communication with those students and their families. Character education. I brought a couple things for show and tell, so to speak. In January, for our character education at Cleveland, we have a monthly theme, and we do either activities or videos, or we like to use children's literature. And so in January, the theme was growth mindset. And so everybody in school, each classroom had this book, and every teachers read it, talked about it. It's all about, not mastering everything yet, and that we're here to learn, and learning is supposed to be fun, but also challenging, and you might not get it right the first time, but we want to keep trying, and recognize that this one's called Your Fantastic Elastic Brain. Stretch it, shape it, keep learning, and keep growing. So it's a fun book, very appropriate for 4th and 5th graders. So we did that in January, and then in February, our theme is listening. And listening skills, I don't know that we ever master that, but we need to keep practicing and reminding ourselves of what do we need to do to be a good listener. Something that impacts our learning, our communication, our understanding, relationships. It's just a very important and valuable skill. This book is one that we will be reading. It's called My Mouth is a Volcano, and it's about a little boy who he listens, but as soon as he hears something that he's can relate to, he just blurts it all out, and so he becomes a interrupter. And so that's why it's called My Mouth is a Volcano. And towards the end of the book, he experiences a couple of classmates who interrupt him when it's his turn to do a presentation, and so he gets to feel the sense of what it feels like to be interrupted himself, and it all comes around full circle, and he learns how to let those, exhale through his nose and inhale again, so when it's his turn to talk, he still has those words that he wanted to share. But it's kind of a fun little book that we will use now in February. And then also in February, we, was at Cleveland, at the elementary levels, we don't do all the dress-up days that they might do at the middle school and high school, but the kids always look forward to our Friendship Fridays in February. So we are going to be doing that each Friday in February, where we have a special day where we're recognizing and celebrating friendship, and what can we do to be a good friend, and how to seek out some supportive, healthy friendships as well. And so our first Friday in February, it's going to be Fort Friday, and it goes along with our One School, One Book theme that I'll share in just a second. Second Friday is, it lands on February 13th, so we're going to, some groups are going to go ice skating, but we're going to wear pink and red, and friendships are sweet. Hats off to being a good friend is what we're going to do on the 20th, so everybody can wear their favorite hat. And then the last Friday in February is also the wrap-up of our One School, One Book event. And so we're going to wear camo or plaid and seek out reliable friendships. So kind of fun for the month of February. And then today, this afternoon, we kicked off our One School, One Book event. And this year we're reading A Week in the Woods by Andrew Clements. You might have heard of this author. He's written several books that 10-year-olds enjoy. This book is about a fifth grade class, and every year at this particular elementary school, the entire fifth grade spends a week in the woods. And today we read chapter 1, and they left it just with a cliffhanger. The planners of this, the teacher who plans this event, is very detailed and has a checklist, and we learn all about his background and how he is meticulously planning this day-by-day week in the woods. And at the very end of chapter 1, it says something is happening that this teacher is unaware of, he can't plan for, and that's all we know. So we are just left hanging. So very motivated to read chapter 2 and chapter 3. But we met as a whole building, whole 4th and 5th grade all together in the gym at the start of the afternoon to read chapter 1. And every student receives a copy of the book, and all of the staff members have a copy of the book as well. So we truly do read it together. Kids also have this calendar for them. It'll take us the whole month of February to work through the book. So they take it home, they're encouraged to read the chapters independently or with somebody at home, and then they bring the book back to school and read and discuss each chapter or 2 chapters with their teachers and classmates. And then there are some activities that are woven in here too, but I can't tell you about those because it'll might ruin some surprises, but there's lots of fun built around this. And this is always made possible and because of the Otter PTO sponsors purchasing the books. They're purchasing some of the things that are going to take place during the month of February as well. So we really appreciate their ongoing support of this. And it's a great way to not only promote literacy, but pull kids together, enjoy, there's an adventure in every book, every story. So lots of good things happen around the One Book, One School event. Another thing Otter PTO recently sponsored was the 5th grade level experience. 5th graders went tubing at Detroit Mountain on January 15th. And some were gonna go the 15th and some the 16th, but if you recall, the 16th was a bitterly cold day. So they scrambled and did a lot of communicating with Lance Wells regarding food, the lunch bags that were gonna be packed and went with them, Otter Tail coaches with the additional busing. And so thanks to our partnerships with Otter Tail coaches and our Otter Food Service, it all came together miraculously, and they the entire grade level went together. So they had a fabulous time. Everybody came home tired, worn out. But it was a great day.
Right to bed they went.
Yes, that's right. That's right. They were noisy on their way out the door and a little more quiet on their way back in, that's for sure. And then another event coming up is an 4th and 5th grade orchestra concert next Monday night at this time at 7 o'clock in the auditorium. Our 4th grade orchestra concert, their first experience is typically in the gym at Cleveland, but this is the 3rd year in a row where that Thursday before Christmas break we had a winter weather day, and it ended up being canceled. So these 4th graders are really excited about this upcoming concert, and we have some 5th graders too, at least a handful of them, where this is their first year in orchestra. So a great experience for all of them. Mr. Colbeck mentioned February is American Heart Health Month. So Cleveland students will also be participating in the Kids Heart Challenge. I was in the gym for a little while today, and they were getting ready for the Winter Olympics. And today, the FIAD teachers introduced the kids to curling. So they had some mats set out and whatever you call those things that they curl with. Stones, there we go. So they had red stones and blue stones, and they were all getting to experience curling, and we're pretty excited about that experience as well. And then at Prairie Science class, we have a great partnership with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and I'm going to say earlier, at the end of December, they did a really thorough report on where the safe areas were on the wetlands and where people needed to avoid. So they went and measured the ice depths and reported out where it was a little bit mushy, watched the muskrat pop-ups because there's some weaknesses in on the wetlands, but thanks to our recently cold temperatures, all the wetlands are safe for snowshoeing and skiing. So when the wet temperatures cooperate, the teachers do a really great job of getting those students out experiencing those winter activities. This week, tomorrow and Wednesday, our 5th grade students at Prairie Science class will have lessons on stick and string or archery. They will be set up in the 5th grade classrooms or dining center, so they'll have that experience this week. But there's a lot of great learning opportunities going on, as we go forward through the year. So that completes my report for this evening.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Principal Rund?
Great,
Thank you. Tonight, Superintendent Drake will fill in a report from Mark Anderson, the high school principal, and then carry right into the superintendent's report.
Yes, good evening. Principal Anderson has a meeting with 8th grade students and parents about their registration for 9th grade classes next year. So big night for the 8th graders. We'll start out on the high school side, recognitions and acknowledgments. The high school would like to thank our paraprofessionals for the work that they do each and every day at Fergus Falls High School. You are a huge part of our success, and your work does not go unnoticed. You matter. Achieving grade level literacy, action steps. We have collected our data and are now answering questions that connect with our instructional practices and focus on all students in our school. We are also discussing professional development at Fergus Falls High School and working with staff to determine specific needs in their department around the district goal. As you've heard earlier tonight, they'll be using the dyslexia screener or assessment called CAPTI. Challenges, we need to get specific reading strategies and best practices that can be used in our content areas other than English courses. As we look at this as a school, we will then look at how we can set up our professional development for next year here at Fergus Falls High School. And they're starting planning days where they will have specific days of professional development along with who they will bring in for those sessions. High school goal number 3, average daily attendance. We have had a lot of students sick this trimester, and we also have a number of students struggling with mental health. Those are some of the challenges. Next steps are to review our data during our Compass CNA work and determine what we may be able to do to support our students better. Under marketing, they have a rough draft now of the high school brochure with hopes that the edits and revisions will be done by the end of February. And they are having their staff review that document and make suggestions. The challenge or barrier to this is time to get that done, but they are looking forward to that and to show potential students in grades 8 through 11 all the wonderful opportunities that the high school offers. School highlights and accomplishments. We're finalizing our A and B honor rolls for trimester 1. We have a great number of students on both the A and B honor rolls. And under upcoming events, the high school will start our registration on February 3rd from 4 to 6 p.m. and on February 5th from 4 to 7:45 p.m. Thank you to our student council and Mr. Tilke for getting Snowball planned and communicated to our students and staff. Snowball is the week of January 26th through January 30th. Under the Area Learning Center, recognitions and acknowledgements, thank you to paraprofessionals Becky Kruger, Mars Ness Ludwig, and Ryan Polzine for their positive work at the ALC. They know the students well and are a great source of knowledge and support and trust for them. Grade level literacy, working with Compass through Lakes Country Service Cooperative as an identified school, sophomore and freshman students have been tested individually by the Compass advocate. She is working directly with the English classes on ways to address reading challenges with best practices and giving students more opportunities to read. English teachers are working directly with Compass for individual comprehension needs, adapting lessons, and teaching practices. Under daily attendance, new attendance plans for struggling students with help from SEP, camp, and probation. Action steps, Lynn Johnson makes strong connections with families and the ALC director. Families are contacted by both Lynn and the director. Will continue to work with families directly. Challenges, 15-day drops. Some students get a lot of support and still refuse to come to school, leading to being dropped, and some students get a lot of support and come sporadically to avoid the 15-day drop. And some students come just for lunch and the class around lunch. Next steps, continued efforts with the SEP program and camp. Probation has been great to work with for some of the youth. Work with Lynn directly to make sure all students are at risk are informed and attending school, and hold individual family meetings at the ALC as needed. Under marketing, since the last report, the ALC has gained 4 students from out of the district. 3 are residents of other districts, and 1 is returning to the district after open enrolling out. Next step is work with credit recovery staff to determine a new schedule that may help students come more often, leading to possible full-time enrollment. Highlights and accomplishments in honor of MLK Day. Students created a day of service back to the community in the next few weeks for each advisory. Students donated $1,100 worth of holiday gifts for teens they shopped for to the Salvation Army. Money used was all donated. And Stephanie Cloud was chosen to represent the West Central region on the MAP Stars leadership team. They're working on legislation ideas and statewide competitions before their May conference. Upcoming events, Snowball Week activities include our own royalty, a skating party, and dress-up days of the week. And the MAP conference for 2 staff members is February 4th through 6th in Duluth. And finally, the IQ Academy report recognitions. Thank you to the IQ staff for working through finalizing grading for the first time using Canvas and PowerSchool. That change required a lot of time and effort on the part of the IQ staff. IQ counselors, Mrs. Borman and Mrs. Cummings, on their work to clean up schedules for semester 2. Grade level literacy, CAPTI working through the data to identify which students to screen. The Compass Leadership IQ leadership team met on Friday, January 23rd to work on surveys for parents, learning coaches, and students. They're really looking at engagement and sense of belonging, connectedness to the school. Next steps are to develop survey questions that meet Compass needs and data collected last year from last year's IQ survey for learning coaches and students. Average daily attendance, working to schedule an IQ social event in February, ice skating in Fergus Falls. Assistant Principal Johnson working through Tier 3 intervention meetings here at the end of semester 1, setting goals and expectations for the start of semester 2, and checking progress for the students in semester 2. Under marketing, IQ Academy social event in February is ice skating. Initial talks with Superintendent Drake to look at setting up tuition agreements for other schools, and Minnesota State High School eligibility changes. It does appear that the Minnesota High School League is going to move for a recommendation to have the, if you are looking at co-curricular eligibility, that will be tied to the school of enrollment. So if you are an IQ student, your co-curricular activities would have to be taken through Fergus Falls. Essentially, for anyone outside the general area, that is going to push people back to either their brick and mortar district or through an online learning that's part of their own district is what that's going to do ultimately. Under marketing, IQ Academy, I mentioned that early. Next steps, continued discussions with Stride on the potential for a tuition agreement with other schools. Upcoming events, end of semester was January 22nd, and Ryan will share passing rate data when grades are finalized for the semester. MCA testing will start late March through the beginning of May. And that is the end of Principal Anderson's report. I'll just roll straight into mine.
Real quick, Jeff, just before I forget, with the co-curricular, is that for next year? For the Minnesota State High School League rule change?
I believe it'll start next year, Steve, but it will, as I understand it, it will be a rolling eligibility piece. So those students, I believe this is how it's going to happen. Those students that are already enrolled in an online school will be grandfathered in under the present policy, and then it will change for new enrollees.
Okay, so we have no idea how much that's going to affect us then. If it's rolling, the kids that we have now are going to continue on, and then new students, we don't, I guess we could look at students that we have now that are in co-curriculars outside of Fergus. If there's some way to find that data, then we can kind of plan, in the future. I don't know. I mean, that could be potentially a big deal.
I don't know if this number includes our own in-district students that are 100% IQ, but out of our roughly 700 IQ enrollees right now, so that's K-12, not just high school, but we have about 40 that are involved in co-curricular activities.
Oh, okay.
So it is, in comparison, a relatively smaller amount, but still very important for those kids that are going to school virtually and still wanting to participate in co-curricular activities.
Yeah.
Thanks for the question. Yep. Any other questions on Principal Anderson's report? Then I will roll into mine. Thank you to the Otter Food Service staff. They had their taste event international taste event, and it was butter chicken. The staff worked really, really hard to prepare that meal and give our students an opportunity to taste something different cuisine from another culture. And so I really appreciate the extra effort and time that went into that event. Also, thanks to the district staff, both Ashton and Hannah for their work, and everyone that contributed to the district newsletter that went out at the end of last week. Lots of really wonderful things showcased in there that are taking place in our school district. And then this was a nice, really nice piece that Lake Region Healthcare put out on their social media with the Otter Onesie program. And again, thanks to our partners at Lake Region, FM Bank for being the fiscal sponsor for the program. And then the 544 Foundation is the fiscal host. So we appreciate the partnerships with all those organizations. Some congratulations are due. This was mentioned earlier, I won't repeat, other than to say Eli was the district champion last year and earned himself a trip to the national competition. I think that was in Washington, D.C., if I remember right. And so good luck to our students that are competing again at the district level competition. Really a wonderful opportunity to showcase some academic skills and have fun, and appreciate all the work that goes into this as well. This was also reported earlier. One of the benefits of being the last one at the podium is some of my stuff is a little bit repetitive, but congratulations to our champions in 4th and 5th grade on the spelling bee. This is a really nice piece to report. Our one-act play took first at some subsections on Saturday. And so they will have a chance to compete at sections, and the section winner will go on to compete at state. Maybe the top two, I forget how that works. But they have a really, really interesting play that they do. It's very heavy material, but they perform it with a real maturity about them, and it makes you think. It makes you think a lot about human nature and how circumstances can impact how we treat one another. So good luck to them. Congratulations to Holden Stenstrom, 1,000 saves. So that is a remarkable achievement in his hockey career. And then really quickly, we talked today as with our monthly meeting with the principals about skills that are in demand out there from employers, and how we match our curriculum to help our students acquire those skills. Under technical skills, AI literacy, tech literacy, and public speaking. Soft skills are analytical thinking, communication, conflict mitigation, adaptability, and empathy. And other soft skills are teamwork, flexibility, leadership, critical thinking, creativity, and self-awareness. And I did not superimpose our portrait of a graduate, but if I had, you would see that it lines up extremely well with those skills. So it continues to be very applicable to our vision for Otter education. One of the key components that came out of that strategic planning was project-based learning, and that was designed really to allow students more engagement, take more ownership of their learning path. And so that is active strategy that we have in terms of our teaching practice. It is designed to be interdisciplinary in nature, so kids are building strings between English and science and math and social studies and health and all those types of things. And it is mastery-based to the standards. It does develop the 4 C's: critical thinking, collaboration, creativity, and communication. And it gives students real voice and choice in their own learning. And it's designed to be authentic with real-world relevance. So that is one of the tools, instructional practices that we use to help our students acquire those skills. The attendance recap. So this is data district-wide, all Fergus Falls Public Schools, without the medical absences being included. We're at 59.3% that are 95% attendance or higher. As you break it down school by school, you'll see that we're kind of in the lower 60s for the most part. High school at 54 point, I think that's a 6. And then the ALC at 14% at 95% attendance or higher. The cold weather does bring some challenges to us. In the community ed space today, we had a line that we believe was frozen or partially frozen to a sprinkler head. So it took a good part of the day to get that issue resolved. And we do not have a skid steer. We do have a tool cat. And last week we had a hydraulic line that had some hydraulic leak. So that ended up going in for repairs for a couple of days as well. But the cold temperatures are hard on us, and they're also hard on the equipment in the facilities. State Fire Marshal has only a couple of visits to buildings left. Had a chance to meet him at the end of last week. Very, very nice gentleman. Was extremely complimentary of the care and attention that our older buildings receive. He just said, you guys are doing a phenomenal job trying to keep up with these, and really appreciated that feedback, and thanks to our custodial and mechanical staff for all the work that they do. John mentioned this already earlier, Principal Steinbrenner, so I won't repeat other than to say a call out for artists on that mural project. And with that, I will turn it over to any questions.
Are there any questions for the superintendent? It appears not. Thank you for the
Thank you.
report. We'll carry on with our general consent items, and for consideration and approval in this motion are the minutes from both the reorganizational and regular school board meeting held on January 12th, 2026, and a report on bills. So I will turn to you, Steve.
Okay, so in this report, we had about 972,000, a little bit over that, in bills to pay. The bills were sent out in your guys' packet, and Kirby and I reviewed the bills with Renee a few days ago. Mostly pretty boring. They're payroll tax, busing, utilities, payroll, and an elevator, which cost $42,000, and I can see why previous business managers hated elevators, but they are very, very expensive to service. But other than that, there really isn't anything super interesting in that. And so I just recommend we pay the bills.
All right. For personnel, we have several items. We have certified staff hires, each at about 1/4 of a full-time position. Michelle Oliphant, special ed teacher, as a long-term sub, and Carrie Tollerson, elementary teacher, long-term sub. Certified staff resignations at the end of the year. Ellen Anderson will terminate her employment with us, or resign as the autism consultant. Daniel Sternberg has submitted his resignation as a teacher at Kennedy and the middle school. Support staff hires include an accountant, and I don't know for sure how to pronounce his last name, but I'm thinking it's Jason Keene. He'll start working at the district office on February 2nd. And Gabriel Brown has been hired as a special ed paraprofessional. Would someone make a motion to approve the general consent items?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor of approving general consent items, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, that is approved. We have an unfinished business item, and I'm seeking a motion to endorse and approve the second reading of the new school board policy number 507.5, school resource officers. Would someone make that motion?
I'll move.
And is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor of approving that new policy, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That is approved. We have a resolution under new business, and it is a resolution directing the administration to make recommendations for reductions in programs and positions and reasons therefore. Whereas the financial condition of the school district dictates that the school board must reduce expenditures, and whereas this reduction in expenditure may include discontinuance of positions and discontinuance or curtailment of programs, and whereas a determination must be made as to which teachers' contracts must be terminated and not renewed, and which teachers may be placed on unrequested leave of absence without pay or fringe benefits in effecting discontinuance of positions, be it resolved by the School Board of Independent School District number 544 as follows, that the school board hereby directs the superintendent of schools and administration to consider the discontinuance of programs or positions to effectuate economies in the school district, reduce expenditures, and make recommendations to the school board for the discontinuance of programs and curtailments of programs. Would someone offer that resolution and move for its adoption?
I'll make that
Missy, okay, Missy doesn't have a microphone, so she is making that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, and discussion on the items? It sounds really severe in the reading of it, but it is an annual resolution that kicks off our very serious considerations of the budgetary considerations. So with that, any other comments or discussion? Hearing none, we'll turn to you, clerk, for a roll call.
Melanie Cole.
Yes.
Stephen Vigasa.
Yes.
Kirby Anderson.
Yes.
Kelly Graf.
Yes.
Jenny Christensen.
Yes.
Missy Hermes, yes. The resolution is adopted.
Thank you. We'll entertain next a motion for rates in the early childhood programs for the 26-27 school year. And the rate would have no change. It would continue at the current rate of $137.50 per month per spot. So would someone make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
All right, and is there a second?
Second.
Well, I didn't fully read that. So, and then $5.50 a month for full-time 4-day. Okay, so I didn't want to have that be misleading. It's in the minutes. But any other discussion?
I think we had an increase last year that we approved. And according to John's report tonight, it sounds like we have pretty good capacity, or almost filled to capacity, so we must be pretty close to the right spot.
Yeah, very good. Any other comments? All in favor of approving continuing the early childhood rates at the same rate for the next school year, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That is approved. Looking for a motion to authorize annual partnership payment to Otter Tail Family Services Collaborative for the fiscal year 26. That amount is $725.
So moved.
And is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That is approved. Looking for a motion to endorse the fundraising activity requests, which were scheduled to occur between February 1st of this year and September 30th of 2026.
So moved.
Okay, Steve will make the motion. Missy will second. Any discussion on that?
So the coupon books, there's multiple requests for the coupon books, and I think our criticism of it before was that it was all going to basketball when we had like 6th graders and 5th graders selling the coupon books. I guess maybe nobody knows, but like the ones that say 6th grade, the 6th grade coupon books, they're selling books. They are using the money for class activities, rewards, and trips. So that means that the 6th grader coupon books are not going to Otter basketball. They're going to the 6th grade classrooms. Am I understanding that right? Or does basketball still get a cut of these coupon books?
I think there's only one coupon book that's sold.
Right, yeah, but I'm
Okay.
just wondering like where the money gets funneled to, because if you're selling coupon books for a sport that you can't even participate in, is that fair? But maybe they fix that, I don't know.
I can get some information on that and report back to the board.
I mean, I know they got to get going on it, so I'm fine approving it, but it would be nice to know where the money's going on that, because just want it to be fair, that's all.
Yeah. All right. Superintendent Drake will get back to the board on that to determine whether the funds are strictly allocated to boys or to the basketball program, or if there is a little bit larger split.
Yeah, and I just assume that because there's 3 or 4 requests, and there's boys basketball, girls basketball, and then 6th grade. My assumption is that the 6th grade books go to the 6th grade classrooms, but I don't know if I would want that going to basketball, and, while they're using the 6th graders to sell for them, so.
Yeah.
That's all.
Good. Yes, and if it turns out to be not the way you're liking it, a good discussion topic for the activities committee.
Yep, for next year, yep.
All right. Any other discussion on that? All in favor of approving the requests that have been submitted, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, that is approved. We have a proclamation, and at the end it says I, Tim Walsh, so I'm reading it in that manner because he wrote it. It's Governor's Proclamation, Paraprofessional Recognition Week. Whereas Minnesota is home to more than 20,000 paraprofessionals who provide multiple services in our schools that are integral to the success of our students and their teachers, and whereas paraprofessionals take on a wide range of responsibilities to meet the unique needs of the students in their care, their dedication supports safe, effective, and engaging learning environments throughout Minnesota. And whereas Minnesota's Department of Education is committed to excellence in education and recognizes the important role that paraprofessionals play in ensuring success in our schools, and whereas Minnesota celebrates the essential contributions of paraprofessionals during Paraprofessional Recognition Week. Now, therefore, I, Tim Walsh, Governor of Minnesota, do hereby proclaim January 19th through 25th, 2026 as Paraprofessional Recognition Week in the state of Minnesota. I'll offer that resolution and move for its adoption. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any comments or anything regarding? Thank you, paraprofessionals from the school board as well. We'll just pile on top of what the governor submitted.
Well, and just to add that many of our paraprofessionals participate in that staff development day too, not just the certified staff.
Awesome. All right. Anything further? Otherwise, I'll turn to you, clerk, for a roll call vote.
Okay. Kirby Anderson,
Yes.
Kelly Graff,
Yes.
Jenny Christensen,
Yes.
Missy Hermes, yes. Melanie Cole,
Yes?
Stephen Biggessa.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted.
All right, thank you. That concludes our regular meeting items, and we will adjourn. The board will stick around for a work session, including several items, a lease, employee handbook, and a recap of the school board conference. So, with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. We are adjourned. Thank you.